Hi, it's me again. Please don't turn the channel. I am Dr. Eurydice Moore. Yes, you see me with the same outfit on. I'm making several videos. Each video will have a different title, so do not swipe away. But stay with me today. What this video consists of is how I started writing grants. Okay. First of all, I had never heard of Grant, didn't know nothing about Grant. So, how I got into the world of Grant was divine, supernatural. And I am a born again Christian, not ashamed of it. And I strictly lean and believe in God. I believe in God. God orchestrated my walk. Career wise, when I first got into the workforce, I have always worked. I was 14 years old when I got my first job. It was one of those youth summer job, mayor office job. And I was 14, and you had to be 16 to have a summer job. And so I took my ID, and somehow or another, I got that sucker open and I changed my age from 14 to 16, glued it back because I wanted to work, because I wanted to buy me some clothes for school. I was getting ready to go to high school, and for years I had wore my older cousin hand me down. She would outgrow stuff. And then of course they thought of me. And I'm like, oh my God, every one in a while can they buy me a new piece? Just one or two outfits a year. I always had to wear their clothes. So by then, I was 14, looking to go to high school in September, and they were taking application for summer jobs. So I went on, fill out the application, and did a little work on my ID. I was processed. I was sweating bullets while I was waiting to be processed. Okay, because I didn't want to get caught. Now I don't. Now today I'm older. I know better. So I would not encourage this. I encourage people to be honest. Be honest. So anyway, my first job was a library aide at Henry Horner Boys Club. Henry Horner project has been torn down for a while, and they at that time they had like a library for the house, CHA housing resident. So it was my job to restock the bookshelf when people brought the books back. So that was my job, and to keep books in order. And then later on, I would go to high school and I would take a lab program. Miss Patricia Bartow, my favorite teacher. She was my biology teacher, and I did pretty good in biology. Science was my favorite subject in high school. And then my second favorite was history. Math was my worst subject. That was my nightmare. I hated math, especially algebra when we got to algebra. But I did enough to pass. But my favorite subject is science and history. So my biology teacher, I did very well in biology. So she told me about a lab program called CLP, which stands for Cooperative Laboratory Program. And it would be about 17 to 20 years later after graduating from high school. I would come back and I would take her place. That's supernatural. And that's in my book. I wrote a book called Ridian that's it's selling on Amazon. If anybody want to get that book, it's on sale right now. Paperback is $6 and something. It's a 5-star book. I got a lot of, let me write the name in, Ready and Overcoming the Odds. So you can go to Amazon, just Google Amazon or McClure Publishing Company. Okay, so you can get the book. Okay, there we go. That's the information. So, she trained young women because at that time, Lucy Flower High School was all girls. And she did laboratory training. She taught us how to do lab tests, about lab equipment, supplies, and glassware, and then she would get us actual internship at hospital at 17, 18 years of age. And depending on the hospital, they would pay you. Uh, it was the minimum wage, but hey, it was pay, and it was money in my pocket. They would pay you to go to come and work with them. And some, it wasn't that many, but about one or two, they will only agree to train you and grade you so you can get credit. So I was very blessed to end up working at Mary Thompson Hospital at the age of 17. And I was the first intern that they had from Lucy Flower High School Cooperative Laboratory Program. And so they trained me how to draw blood and do pregnancy tests and urine tests and EKGs, and they taught me a lot of things. And then later on, I would go on to college and become and get a degree in medical lab technology. And after getting a degree in medical lab technology, then I would have to take the state board with the American Society of Clinical Pathologists to be certified. And then I would have to register. So I passed the certification and I became a registered certified medical laboratory technician with the American Medical Society of Clinical Pathologists. And I worked in the lab for like 12 years. And then there was other hospitals that I worked at. I worked at University of Illinois, Mary Thompson Hospital, Mount Sinai Hospital, Cook County Hospital, and the last hospital that I would work at would be Rush Presbyterian St. Luke, and they just call themselves Rush now. And that was my favorite hospital, then Mary Thompson. So anyway, then years would pass, and I would go on to get a bachelor. And you can read about all of this in Ridian. I'm just giving you the short version so I can get to the meat and potato of this video, which is how did I end up writing grants. This is how I ended up writing grants. I was laying in my bed one day, and the Spirit of the Lord spoke to me and said, go back to school. And school was the last thing I wanted to do. Okay. So I was like, oh no. I done been through eighth grade, I done been through high school, and I got my associate, went back, got a bachelor. I'm like, God, you got to be kidding. It's more to life than school. You know. And then I heard him speak. I heard God speak and say, I will make it easy for you. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. So I fill out an application with Roosevelt University and the University of Illinois. And in about 3 weeks, I received a response. They both accepted me. Okay. And then in the meantime, I leave the lab and I end up getting a job at Lucy Flower High School. I took my teacher place. I mentioned that to you. I took my teacher place. And so I got hired in the summer, but I wasn't supposed to actually start working until the fall, was September of 1985. So after I got hired, but my startup, I got hired in April, but my start wouldn't be until September 1985. So what happened was, I think a week afterwards, I got a letter from Roosevelt University and University of Illinois saying that I was declined admission into those universities. And I was telling my girlfriend, Pat, I have always had a Pat, a Patricia in my life. And you know what? Those Pats and Patricias have always been a blessing to me. Real strange. Have you ever sat down and you looked around and you noticed as your life progressed, you constantly meet people of the same name? Is that something that we should be paying attention to? Anyway, I told my friend Pat, and I had mentioned to her that God wanted me to go back to school and that he said he would make it easy for me. So she took her son to register to a private, I believe, Catholic or either Lutheran school. And she was sitting in between two women. And they were talking about this school called Spertus. It's located downtown Chicago. And so as soon as she got home, she called me. She said, "Hey, have you thought about applying to Spertus?" I said, "Spertus?" I said, "I never heard of it." And she said, "Why don't you give them a try?" So I called and I spoke to the director. I found out there was a program. Remember, God said, "I'm going to make it easy for you." They had a program that was 18 months to get a master. That's back then, 60, 70, 80, that's unheard of. Usually to get a master's degree take 3 to 5 years. But they had designed a program where it only took 18 months. Okay. So I went in, I met with the director, and I had 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks to make my first payment, which was $400. I had 2 weeks to get all my transcripts in. My transcript from Central YMCA Community College, where I went to school for lab and graduated from with a degree, and my bachelor, College of St. Francis, which is now University of St. Francis. I had to get my transcript in, and I had to put a rush on it because they needed to evaluate whether I qualified for this 18 months program. So a rush was put on it. It was evaluated. The director called me. I went in, I paid my money. Okay. And my class was starting August. So the class started in August. And remember, it's an 18 months program. So in the meantime, I started working at the Board of Education, and uh, the classes was in, they were called modules. They were back-to-back courses. And if you missed a course, a module, you had to wait for that module to come back around. And it might be anywhere, it might be a year. So I had 10 modules. So out of those modules, remember I said God said, I'll make it easy for you. The first class, we had instruction, and then we had a little blue booklet we had to fill out and answer questions. That was module 1. Module 2 through 9, each module we had a different teacher. And of course, there was a different topic pertaining to our degree, which would be Human Services Administration. So in module 2, I wrote a paper. And then I felt the Lord telling me, you don't have to keep writing papers. Just take that one paper and adjust it and alter it to fit the next 9 modules. And that's what I did. I was just simply resubmitting the same paper with additional information, different footnotes, different resources. So that's another way. God made it easy because it was an 18 months program instead of 3 to 5 years. One paper got me out. Then in the course, we had a seminar to teach us how to write grants. And our teacher taught us how to do federal grants. And he walked in with a sample of a grant. It had to be at least 100 pages. And he passed it around so that we could look at it. So instead of a thesis, we had to write a grant. And that one seminar, that one session, I think it was 3 hours, he went over each part of the grant, how to write a grant. And guess what? I learned just in time because the principal of my school that I worked at as a science teacher and a cooperative laboratory program coordinator called all the vocational teacher. I was under the vocation department into her office right after I learned how to write a grant. She called us all into her office and told us that the Board of Education had money. And in order to get the money for our program, see, Lucy Flower Vocational was like a double hit of high school. When you graduated with your general education, reading, writing, arithmetic, and you graduated with a vocation. And so, and you left out of there with a job from Lucy Flower. And I think there's still some vocational, occupational Chicago Public Schools that's still doing that. So, like 3 great things came out of graduating from Lucy Flower. And then I ended up taking my teacher place. Back to the story. So the principal gave us the challenge of writing grants. And so I was so happy. I was like, I just learned how to write a grant, right? And I know it was divinely ordered because I was trying to get into University of Illinois. I was trying to get accepted into Roosevelt. Neither one of them at the time. I don't know what they're doing now, but neither one of them had any grant writing classes. So God directed me to go to Spertus. And so I went to Spertus, learned how to write a grant. Principal called, said, hey, you vocational teacher need to write grants for your program. And so I wrote a grant, and my grant was this many pages, and I handed it to the principal. The principal threw it back at me. She threw the grant at me. I didn't throw it at her. I'm sorry. I handed it to her, then she threw it at me. She said, break that down. I had no idea what you were talking about. Break that down. I promise you. I'm like, okay. I took this seminar course. Took one course in grant writing. And you talking about break it down. This is how I was taught. And from that moment onward, I would find out that there are different formats for grants. There are different writing styles for grant. But guess what? All grants have the same fundamentals in common. Sometimes the terminology might be different. The terminology might be different depending on the grant. So when you're working on a grant, whatever terminology they give you, you use that terminology that the funder give you for the grant. And so she said, break it down. So I had to pull out my stuff. And I'm like, maybe it's too many pages, because I think I gave her like 30 pages. And so what I did was, I give God the praise. I was able to get that grant down to maybe 10 pages. And then staple it, went down to her office, hand her the grant. She looked at it, did like that, walked out the door. And then I would find out the next month that I got a grant for $36,000 for my program from the Board of Education. And then I was able to upgrade the program that my predecessor had, Patricia Bartow. I was able to update the curriculum, update the equipment, update and order supplies. And I was able to do a lot with $36,000. I was able to order chemicals. So that's how I got into grant writing, wrote my first grant, which I was awarded $36,000. Through the years, the Lord has blessed me to assist schools, churches, social service agencies, and so on and so forth to acquire $3 million in funding for grants. And through the years, I have gotten grants for my business, SIS, and nonprofit that I have operated. I've gotten grants. And then through the years of writing grants, then people came to me and said they wanted me to write grants for them, which I didn't want to do because I know people. I'd rather teach it so that you have the skill. So if you are declined, you can go and look for other grants. You can keep going. When it comes to money, people are expecting a return for their money. No grant writer, I repeat, no grant writer can guarantee that you will get a grant. No way, no how can they guarantee that you will get a grant. Just not going to happen. Why? Because the money is not theirs to give. It is the funder, when you turn the grant in, who will read the grant and decide if they want to partner with you, if they want to award you a grant. So those were the reason why I didn't want to do grant writing, because I didn't want people to feel bad if they didn't get a grant, and then they would have gotten money. So that's why I designed a program which is unique, and I haven't heard of anyone else doing this. And oh Lord, what happened to my banner? Okay, let me get my banner going. Okay, there we go. I thought I had it on. Okay, so I either have the banner or the comment. I can't have both. That's interesting. But back to the story. So I designed a program where if you hire me as your grant writer, I do grant research, and then I do the grant writing. You get a report. You choose what grant you want. I have the free online grant workshop. You can come and learn how to do your own grant. Plus, when I do a grant for you, I make sure you get a copy. And if you are declined, you could resubmit that grant. Plus, you could take all your information is in that grant. You could take that grant and go and apply for other grants. I haven't heard of anybody doing like that. You know, some people want you, not talking against them, they want you to keep coming back. I want you to learn, because you learn this skill, you will always be able to write grants. I might be in Europe somewhere, I might be in Israel, I might be in Italy, France, I might go to Mexico. You can't find me. You need to know how to do it yourself. Plus, I have do-it-yourself books. My information is scrolling across the screen. My website is eurydice or com. Okay. I'll let you know how often I be on it, right? You have my phone number, 773-544-5341. 773-544-5341. 773-544-5341. Okay. My email where you can reach me. Here come the website. It's .com. Okay, there go my phone number, all my contact information. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so that whenever a video is done, you can view it. If you have any questions, listen in the comment, or you can contact me. Better yet, I give free 15-minute consultation. You can book an appointment with me, and I will talk to you and listen to you for 15 minutes, where you can tell me what type of grant you want, or I can make recommendations on the type of grant that you should be looking into. One thing I want to say, that before you can apply for any grant, you must have a business structure. You must be either a nonprofit or a for-profit. These funders don't give to individuals. I think in my past 30 plus years, I might have seen 2 funders that did not require you to have a setup. 2. So that lets you know the other 99% is requiring you to be either a nonprofit or a for-profit to apply for grants. And I can help you set up your structures. Your business structure, you need a business structure. I can help you get grant ready, become grant ready, become eligible to apply for funding. I can help you with that. So my contact information is scrolling. If you like this video, please hit a like, share, please share with others. Um, if you want to know more about grant writing, you can contact me. So I'm signing off for now. Thank you for viewing this video. God bless, Godspeed.